Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Darryl.
Hey everybody, Jeremy and Darryl here, Season 2, Episode 65. Next to me, of course, the co-host with the most, and not only the co-host with the most, the reason we have a podcast tonight, because we think you might have been a little scared out there. Hey, Darryl?
I think people were wondering why we were a little bit late.
You know what? People ask about, is it nerve-wracking and is it, crazy when things don't work? And when I'm sitting beside you, I could tell you honestly that I don't really sweat it.
That's good.
You're like,
I'm glad you have that much faith in me.
I do. What is the saying, probably from a movie or something? He's like, he's calm as a Hindu cow, I think is the statement or something like that. But anyways, just very Zen-like, almost like a Buddhist monk or something. You're just working on the keys and figuring it out, and we've got an episode.
All of that. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I'm trying to do what I'm doing. Yeah, all the while I'm getting, so did you turn it off? So what do you think it could be? So did you, what does that mean?
Well,
is that good?
Well, welcome to everybody who's in the chat there. And I think Dylan, who also works in the IT world, can appreciate that. So Dylan, Jeremy, the very limited IT knowledge person, is like, Darryl, did you try rebooting it? Did you turn it off and turn it back on?
What does that mean, Darryl?
Do you think we should unplug it and plug it back in?
Well, we're here now.
We are.
We are.
And for those who are listening, maybe for the first time, we're here in Edmonton, Alberta. And in this area, we are just 2 weeks away, I hope, from the start of our disc golf season. And I know the weather outside may not reflect it, but we're going to have our first tournament of the year in the area, which is the Tundra Toss tournament. A great one to go out to. It's a C tier. It's 2 rounds, 1 day. And so far, I just checked before the episode started, we have 60 of 76 spots filled in the tournament, which means you can still join us if you want.
There's still room.
Yeah.
Get in while you can. It's
And
going to be a great time.
And Darryl, you're not playing this one. You're going to be doing photos and social media. Is that what you're doing?
Photos, social media, yeah. One of the things when I took over was that I was told that not a lot of events have been documented through the Edgar history. So if I could take any... if I could expand on that, anything extra would be good. So, Yeah. Not that I'm saying I'm envious of you playing in like minus 15 or minus 20 or whatever it might be. But no, I will be taking photos, walking around the course, taking photos, taking video, making sure everybody's having a good time.
Okay. So I think right now there are going to be 2 MA40 cards. So do you think you might be doing like a live stream of the MA40 chase card? And just follow it around for a whole round and maybe commentate and see what
you never know what I'm going to be getting up to.
Because I always play well under pressure like that. So yeah. Every time we turn on the camera, I have my best throws. Not. Also, too, at Tundra Toss, it's going to be our welcome day, and we're going to have the bag tags there, or Edgar will, to give out. And this year, with the tags, we are going to end up with, last year we had those larger Innova kind of foam type tags. This year we're going back to the metal tags. A lot of people like that smaller version. They were different colors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be different colors for different different levels. So like 1 to 100 will be one color, 2 to 300, I think, or 2 to 400 will be a different, and then over 400 will be another color. So at a glance, you'll be able to tell. I think that's it. Might be 1 to 50 is one color, and then 150 or 50 to 200 is another color. But yeah. Well, I'm getting a few people telling me that I'm a little bit low on audio. So hopefully this is a little bit better. Tell me in the chat if you think this is better.
And if I'm too loud, like I tend to be, you can always let me know that too. Another thing about that is I was kind of wondering who's going to end up with the number 1 tag this year. And we talked a little bit about the number 1 tag. Everybody's playing for tags, getting there that way. But the question I thought was, I'm like, who ended last season with the number 1 tag?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
So I did some great research. I checked with the president of Edmonton Disc Golf Association, Brock Cicchetti, to see if he knew who finished with number 1 tag. And guess what I found out?
He doesn't know.
That is right. So maybe Dylan, I know you probably saw that number 1 tag a couple times.
Dylan, yeah, he had it.
He did.
Yeah.
So maybe he knows what it is. If somebody knew where it ended up, put it in the chat. But I'm guessing it was Gabe or Tristan, maybe. Somebody like that. Maybe Uncle Steve.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think Gatsky had it for a while.
Yeah.
2 people had it.
Exactly. We did get out, though, on the weekend, and we checked out Rundle, which was maybe almost a semi-practice round for me for Tundra Toss. It was pretty snowy out there. Minus 14.
First time you've been there in a while.
Yeah, we've been playing Hermitage if we do go out.
Yeah.
But we got out there, and one of the nice things is we brought our little shovel, and we were doing our best to shovel the tee pads.
Do what you can, right?
Yeah.
Dylan's got number 2.
Oh,
so we know that he
nice
doesn't
work,
have number
Dylan.
1. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did that mean he lost number 1 to whoever had number 2? Or he worked his way back up probably to number 2.
Yeah, maybe.
But as we were going around, we thought we were doing a good job doing our duty shoveling the tee pads until we got to like tee pad 4. And then we saw what it really means to clear a tee pad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to, why can I not think of his name? I want to say Mitchell, but it's not Mitchell.
No, it was Maverick.
Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to Maverick walking around
with an ice scraper.
Ice scraper and some ice melt.
Yeah, those tee pads are perfect. So if you haven't gone out to Rundle because you thought the tee pads were bad, get out there. It's great. Mm-hmm. And then on Friday night, I went to the indoor lessons that had just started. And Gabe was out there again, of course, teaching me how to standstill throw my backhand and giving me some tips. And it was a good time. It was a small group. Like I think there's maybe 15 to 16 people there.
That's good.
But then we had a number of people join for the throwing afterwards. And I got to see Gabe throw from one end of the foot field and hit the tent on the other side.
That's crazy.
Insane.
So that's 450, but still in the air.
In the air.
That's not skipping.
No, that's in the air.
450 straight in the air.
Yeah. Jared was close. He was there too. Jared and Jana.
Right.
But not quite quite what Gabe did.
That's crazy.
And it turned, I got to tell you this though too, is you understand when you were doing your gyro palooza and having your discs.
Yeah.
What was the disc that I got here at Spring Runoff? I got myself a resistor with Taco Bear on it, and the other disc was a Mayhem that I ended up giving away for my Trash Panda swap. And then Gabe's like, "You gave away a Mayhem? They're my favorite disc." I'm like, "What?"
Really?
So we met somebody who can throw a Mayhem.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely got the arm for it.
For sure.
Yeah. But so you went to the first lesson.
Yes.
Out of the first wave. There's 2 camps. There's training camp 1, training camp 2. So if you went to lesson 1, still 3 lessons to go.
Yes.
Still got time to get in there and get a nice lesson by Gabe.
Yes.
And if that's not your thing, if you just want to get out of the cold and you want to go somewhere nice and try and see if you can hit that tent at the end, see if you can throw 450, there's still plenty of time to drop in as well. $15 for drop-in sessions at the Footfield Edgar winter training programs.
And even too is, let's say you think you've got your backhand honed and it's perfect and you would like some forehand lessons, well then show up for week 3 when Gabe's going to teach forehand and just go for that week. Absolutely. You can do that as well. Another thing, Darryl, Nationals is now full.
Yeah.
It is, well, at least for the spots that they originally opened up, the 520 or so. So for those who signed up, if you want to see what a couple courses look like, because now I'm getting excited and I want to know what we're playing and what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Ace Run Pro covered the RIP last year at Haute Goat.
Yeah. And
then there was another group there. I hadn't seen them before, but they're called Canadian Disc Golf Productions. Okay. And they covered 2023 and 2024's Project 15 Open. Okay. So you can see Project 15, and I know Gabe's always changing that course.
Yeah, exactly. It may not be what it shows in the coverage, but most of it will be the same.
Yeah, it should be the basic layouts, or the tee pads might be the same and the baskets are in different positions.
Yeah.
But you can watch those. But what I'm wondering is, I haven't been able to find any coverage of the other 2 courses, which are Cedar Creek and Newcastle. So if anybody knows of coverage of those courses out there, maybe send us a link. We'd love to see it. That would be good.
Yeah.
And what was the other news about Nationals we had?
The
course assignments, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Right.
We know what the courses. We know what the course assignments are.
Mm-hmm.
We know in our division for the MA40s, we know that we will be playing. Do we know the order? Did you look at the order which we're playing them?
I know P15's last. It's our last day. That's all.
So
we
know we're playing Cedar Creek. We know we're playing Newcastle.
MP15.
And we're playing MP15.
Yeah.
Not MP15. We're playing P15. Project 15.
It'll feel like it's a
Yeah.
an exciting.
But that doesn't mean that we're not going to get out to Hope Goat and have a practice round out there anyway. We'll be out there for the other events that are going on, the Wombat Challenge and Crokinole as well.
Yeah, so we'll throw some discs on that course. We'll get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get to the guest kit in here, but let's finish this top of show.
Yeah.
So Chain Out Podcast, we're sponsored by, looking at your lovely hat there, Cardinal Disc Golf. As you know, we're on the Crimson team, and being part of the team allows us to give you, our listeners, a code for 10% off your orders. So if you go to Cardinal and you want to buy a nice jersey, like the ones that are almost here finally.
Oh my goodness. We're so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stay tuned for next week. That's all I'm going to say. Couldn't quite get them for this episode, but stay tuned for next week.
Exactly. So you can put in Chain Out and you'll get 10% off your order. And we still have the Vanish and the reactor. So we got an R2 reactor and a glow Vanish to give away to the first 2 people to use the code. So get out there and use it if you'd like.
Yeah.
And also because of that, Miguel Alvarado and Gabby Lee's jerseys just dropped, and they are hot and spicy in my mind. Like, they're amazing. Oh, yeah. Those 2 jerseys.
Yeah, they're really good. I really like those jerseys. I think we'll see how the year goes, but I could see one of us or both of us picking those jerseys up sometime through the year.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you. So if you and I use our code Chain Out and buy them, do we get the discs?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if we're the first 2 to use it.
All right. Well, that's a gauntlet out there to you. And beyond that, the other discounts we can give you is that Goat Towel has offered us a 15% discount for our listeners. And you just have, or for the Chain Gang, as Sam was so nice to say last week.
Yeah.
So just put in COP, C-O-P, 15 at checkout. So that's COP 15, not COP, and then COP again, and then 15. And then we had Callum Mathers on the show last week, and he's the inventor and creator of Chains, the disc golf board game. And he was kind enough to give us a 25% discount for our listeners.
Yeah.
And you can use that by putting Chain Out.
Oh, absolutely. Or you can click the link that I just put in the chat.
Oh, look at this guy. Yeah. Look at this technical genius.
The link is in the chat. Just click on the link, add the product to your basket. When you check out, 25% will automatically be added.
Yes. And then last thing is, after the Chain Out episode, we've been starting to promote our Around the Basket episodes that are live on Patreon. And tonight we will be joined by Patreon member and local disc golf Sam Western. We're going to get to hear about Sam's recent trip to Belize, chat about different discs, and we have Disc Golf Jeopardy back.
Yeah.
Woot woot.
Come on, Sam. I'm 1-1.
Yeah, that's right. This will be the one to see whether you're on the winning side or the losing side, like which way you're heading.
Sorry, Sam.
You're going to bring it all, are you? Yeah. So if you want to go onto Patreon, there is a free link there. You can check it out. But if you want to wait until it comes out, it'll come out usually around Saturday, Sunday on the weekend onto YouTube.
Yeah.
And let's get to this guest, Darryl.
He's been waiting patiently. Let's bring him on.
All right. Tonight's guest is from Toronto, Ontario. He is another person who is working to contribute to our wonderful sport in Canada. He has done it by creating a Canadian disc golf company. With 3 PDGA approved discs on the market, tournaments popping up around the country, and a concerted effort to create community, he is moving us in the right direction. Let's welcome Ned from Discape Disc Golf to the show.
Good day. Good evening, Ned. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. Good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And thanks for hanging in there. We saw you join. We saw you join early, but we were having a little bit of technical difficulties, and we're glad that you stuck it out and waited for us there.
Of course. It was easy listen, so no worries there, and appreciate you guys having me on here. I know we've been waiting a while to get this done, so it feels good to be here.
Yeah, we were thinking that too. It's good to finally see you and to chat in person, because we've had a lot of email exchanges and Instagram messages back and forth over the past year, and now finally the moment is here.
There you go.
We're here.
Yeah. We were talking about our recent round, as you would have heard there, that we played at Rundle Park, and you probably also heard that we were playing in -14 and in the snow, because that's what we get in Edmonton. And we know you're quite busy, but when was the last time you got out and were able to play around?
Not too long. It was about a few weeks ago, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, in heavy snow. I actually went to Niagara Falls. That's where I'm from, and we have a nice course over there. My parents live over there. I still have some buddies there, and I actually had some new prototype discs that I was trying out while I was there. We'll talk about those a bit later. But
Yeah.
yeah, had a good round out in the snow there. Wasn't too cold. The couple weeks after that were just insanely, probably dangerously cold here in Toronto. But yeah, that was my last round. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good that you're still getting out, because we do know that a lot of people will tend to shut down their disc golf days in the winter and they won't play. But anyone who can still get out there, I've got my U-disc streak that I proudly hold on to, and I think I'm at 95 weeks or something like that. So I'll go out for 9 holes as fast as I can, even if the weather is horrible. So
I love it.
Even,
I mean, it's like it's a whole new terrain, you know. Like we've got a few good local leagues here that keep going throughout the winter. Obviously, you know, less people play week over week compared to the summer, but it's always a lot of fun when it's a bit icy. The ground's a bit chillier. Those skips are interesting, but yeah, it's fun. It's nice to see the course change throughout the seasons. Feels like a whole new course.
awesome. Yeah, I would agree for sure.
yeah.
It does change it. And sometimes too, as I've been told, that you'll lose distance in that in the winter and in the cold. But sometimes I feel that that's not the case. I feel like I have some of my best rounds when the tee pads are clear, right? We can get some pretty decent throws off.
Yeah.
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 So, well, Ned, when it comes to our interviews, one of the things we like to do is we like to find out how our guests got into disc golf. So we're going to give you a chance to think about that, but I don't just ask you that. I create an amazing origin story for you, usually based on a movie, and our listeners are in the chat and they're supposed to try and guess what movie I'm referencing. So here is your origin story, Ned. Maybe you got into disc golf early in life. You were good at the sport and known for your dashing good looks and style. When people would spy you internationally competing in tournaments, they'd watch as you battled against your evil nemesis, Dr. Disc Golf. Not only was he trying to beat you at tournaments, he was also collecting Nate Sexton Firebirds. Let me say, collecting. His goal was to amass 1 million Firebirds in any way he could. You were on to him, and he knew it, so he cryogenically froze himself to wait until the future to continue his evil plan. You followed suit and just thawed out last month and are ready to chase him down. When asked if you think you'll catch him, you've been known to say, "Yeah, baby, yeah." Now, maybe that's not quite how you got into disc golf, so why don't you tell us how it really happened?
I wish. What a story. So yeah, my origin story. So basically, I got into disc golf a few years ago, kind of on more so the tail end of the pandemic. I live in Toronto, like you guys said. I live right downtown, and if you've ever been, have you guys been to Toronto?
Yes.
Sounds like
Yeah.
you have, but yeah,
Not for
yeah.
disc golf,
Have
but
you
I've been out
played?
there.
Okay, okay. Do you know about the Toronto Islands?
Boy, do we.
Oh, yeah. We've heard of them.
Okay. So I'm literally like where I am right now, like a 5-10 minute walk to the ferry that gets you to the Toronto Islands. And for those that aren't from Toronto, the islands are basically like a 15-minute ferry away from our kind of harborfront area downtown. Um, there's a few touristy things on the island, like there's you know a beach there that people like to go to in the summer. There's some little like carnival things as well. But if you go to the left kind of side of the island, as you look at it from the harbor front, there's actually people that live there. They're known as islanders. They've lived there for a long time, decades, many decades, and they actually, I think, sort of their families kind of live on there, and there's a lot of rules around who can actually live there, buy property, or erect a new property, and so on. And anyways, that side is kind of what I prefer, and where I'd like to go before disc golf. Like I would go there, just hang out. The city's obviously very busy, and I love it, but it's nice to kind of get away sometimes and escape in a way. And so, I'd always go out there, go to the beach there, walk along. It's really nice. There's kind of like a forest and lots of nice areas and stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, one day I'm walking around and I see these kind of these baskets, these chains, and don't mind it much, but
Yeah.
Always wondered kind of what that was. And then I saw people throwing discs in them, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then, being the newbie that I was, me and my one of my close buddies, we like throwing frisbees around at the beach and stuff. So we just assumed those were frisbees, and we went out and started throwing it ourselves. And then started talking to the locals there. They told us about the course, that it's an 18-hole course. It's been there, I feel like over 50 years or something crazy. And started to kind of learn about the sport a little bit more, and had a lot of fun with it. Again, I like going there anyways. I like going on walks. I like just hanging out. So, started just, I bought like one or two discs and started just playing, even by myself, like just play some music, hang around, play, and just really enjoyed it. And then, yeah, that's kind of where it started for me. Started playing kind of more and more, throughout the years. And then really it was maybe the last kind of 2 years that I started getting into it a lot more, adding a few more discs to my bag. Nothing crazy. Like I'm definitely, I've always been more of a casual player than a super competitive player. And again, it's really that escape kind of feeling for me that makes disc golf so special. And that it's a play on Discape and what we're all about there. So that's where it all started. I then started joining like our local league at the Toronto Islands on Saturdays in the winter, which was a lot of fun. Started meeting some people, and then one of my close friends who lives out in BC, Jonathan, he's actually in Ontario for a few weeks now. Very entrepreneurial guy. He's worked on some stuff in the past. And when I was telling him about disc golf and everything and showing him what it was about, his kind of first thought to me was just asking about the industry and where it's at and this and that. And he's like, do you think we could maybe do something here? Is there an opportunity? And I was like, maybe, like, let's look into it. And then, just started doing some research, asking around and stuff. And he's originally from China, moved over to Canada, and the only way for us to really become manufacturers was actually find someone who could help us produce these discs. So given his bilinguality, if that's a word, he was able to talk to a lot of people back there. Yeah, there you go. And I think we get this sometimes when we kind of talk about it, but at first anyone we would kind of talk to on the production side of things, it was a lot of we can make money printing cheap plastic, let's do it type of thing. And we weren't really about that. Again, we wanted to kind of come into the market with the actual good product, and also help grow the game a little bit, right? Like, and you'll, as you guys know, with our current plastic, listen, we know it's not the best plastic in the world, but it's still a lot better than what might be considered a really bad plastic. And we're going to be introducing more plastics this year, and it's going to get better and better. But we had to find the right partner for that. And right before we were about to give up, we meet this guy, Daniel. And Daniel's essentially our official kind of product partner now. He's in the production space. He knows how other big brands started in this space, who they kind of manufactured with, how they do their plastics and all that. And what's really cool about Daniel is he's actually growing the game back in China. He builds courses out there. He's like a head official for tournaments. He's played with China and stuff. He's doing the most in terms of actually growing the game there. Now the market there is not big at all compared to the population, but he's a nut for this sport. Like he knows it. He's better at it than any of us at this company. Like it's really cool. So he knows the product. He knows how it works. He knows how the PDGA works and all that. So somehow we meet this guy, needle in a haystack. And I walk him through the industry in Canada. I show him how many players we have, how many courses we have, all this kind of stuff, the growth, since the pandemic and everything. And he got really excited. He's like, wow, like, we can really make a difference here. There's an opportunity here. And so we then partnered together, talked about, what we should kind of start with, and came out with these discs. And I know we'll probably talk about the discs specifically in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've got them here to kind of go through one by one, but yeah.
Well, we'll get to that for sure. You've given us a lot we can unpack for sure. That's awesome. Like, that's like go
Yeah.
right from
Sorry
step
if
one
I'm
to
rambling.
there. No,
Yeah,
you're
no.
doing great. But Daryl's got about what 10 things you could think of on that, hey?
Yeah, no, there's so many things that you mentioned there that it was like it was good that it was like an all encompassing journey on from beginning to end. In the beginning there you mentioned about Toronto Islands. We recently had Brian Henniger, who lives on Toronto Island.
Yeah.
He mentioned about back in the day when he went down to Texas to take over part of the PDGA and pulled all that back. So part of the PDGA was actually run from Toronto Island back, I think back in the 80s or
Yeah.
90s sort of thing. So that was awesome. So going back to the courses, you say you
Yeah.
got, you live there. Do you kind of venture out around Toronto to get to many courses, or is there just a couple that you kind of, that you play over and over again that you like?
I have been venturing out a bit more in the last kind of couple of years. Toronto Islands is definitely my home course, but recently did a trip east of Toronto and got a bunch of courses done last year, kind of late spring. Hope Goat is probably my favorite course to play at. You guys brought it up earlier. Love that course so much. And then I've been to some other courses, like if I'm ever traveling and I know I've got a window to kind of try something out, I'll
Yeah.
do it. I did Raptors Knoll out in BC
Okay.
last year, and a year before that. Did it's a course at Hillcrest Farm, I think, out in PEI. So
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
a few. Did a few in Ottawa as well. When I get out there, I have some friends and family there. So
Yeah.
wherever I am, I try again, even like you said, even if it's 9 holes, just to try something new. Always want to do that. I think, my goal this year is to try some US courses as well and try and get out some of those. There's some nice ones apparently just over the border from Niagara. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with what you're saying there, it sounds like you're just taking the UDisc top 10 in Canada courses and checking them off. Hope Goat, check.
Yeah.
Hillcrest, check.
Pretty
Raptors
much.
Knoll, check.
Yeah.
So if you come out in the fall and you do Falcons Flight, you'll get Aspen Meadows, East and West, check and check.
Check.
So no, that's all right. And yeah, and you kind of answer. I was
Love it.
wondering that too because I understood that you travel a bit, and so you haven't really played many courses out of the country yet, but that's what's on your agenda for this year. You're thinking you can put some in.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I think I want to do like a bit of a road trip as well. I think the ones over the border, like because Niagara Falls borders like the Buffalo area, and they have some really
Mm-hmm.
nice ones there from what I've seen on UDisc and from what I've heard. And then the US, I mean, they're just so rich with so many courses, right? So I think any kind of road trip anywhere, maybe go catch a baseball game in the summer somewhere, and then do 2 or 3 courses on the way, like something along those lines. I
Yeah.
think could be a lot of fun. So definitely gonna try and get as many as I can.
Nice, nice. Well, one of the things as you were
Yeah.
getting into the Discape side of it is like we found that disc golf has a way in all of these interviews that we've done of grabbing people and taking a hold of them
Mhm.
in more than just that once every now and then recreational sport into the part where it's like an integral part of people's lives. And for Darryl and I, it manifested itself into this podcast. But for you, it went in a different direction in creating your own disc golf company, Discape. And like that's now we want to jump into that and
Yeah.
really kind of dig into it. Hey, Darryl?
Yeah, absolutely. So we heard your origin story about how you got into disc golf, and we kind of, it kind of led into how Discape was born there. But you want to just tell us a little bit more about how that all came about?
Like, yeah, so these friends that you had, so we kind of got the
Yeah.
feel of it was so you had that one friend that was already working with companies in China, was out in the Vancouver area, and that led you to that
Yep.
next gentleman. And that was kind of that coming together of forces. But I think, is there a fourth person involved too that you guys have in the company?
There is my guy Mitch. He's amazing. He does anything tied to logos, creative. Like he's taken social media off of my plate, which is super helpful now. Like anything you see like that from a creative standpoint, it's all Mitch. So he's actually based out of Windsor. The three of us here in Canada used to work together. That's kind of how we know each other in the first place. But Mitch, from a design, creative, marketing standpoint, he's been sort of instrumental to the business. We all kind of I'm kind of marketing kind of sales head. Jonathan is anything kind of business operational, and then Mitch is like creatives. So
Right.
that's kind of how we're really split. And then Daniel on product. I don't think any of us could really do this without the other. But yeah, once we had the idea, the two of us were like, well, we can't design anything. So let's hit up Mitch and see what we can do here. And I had the name Discape. But then he started playing around with what the logo could be and stuff, and we had this whole theme. I mean, you guys have seen our creative even for like, and we'll talk about our events and stuff later. But this whole there's always kind of this adventurous background, whether it's a forest or the sky or the ocean or whatever. Like this whole play on adventure, on escape. He's really kind of leaned into that in terms of our branding. So
Right.
yeah, and going back to just kind of origin story on Discape, we looped him in, came up with the logo, came up with the colors, and then once we knew we were going to do 3 discs, he started kind of playing around with what those designs could be. We wanted something cool. We wanted something that people would like, that we would like ourselves. And I think overall, what you'll see with kind of our designs and stuff is a play on just like elements, right? So if you've got, our driver, Draconyx, it's kind of on, it's a dragon, so fire. The Skyterron's kind of like, earth and wind kind of thing, Aquarion, aqua, right? Water. And you'll see that more with some of our other discs, and we'll start getting creative, thinking about ice or magma or stone or whatever, right? So we're just kind of having fun with that. Yeah, so once we got those kind of 3 discs together and started building really stories around the characters themselves, we were having a lot of fun with that. That's kind of where it all started. And in terms of the names, it's funny, like, we were looking at quite a few options. I don't really know how it works in terms of like copywriting names of this, because you'll see, obviously other brands have like any animals or like a in of a dragon, right? Like they don't own the word dragon. So I don't know, all of the background behind that. I just wanted to make sure we were safe, and made sure that the names that we had to start were, not already owned by somebody else. So and understanding that they might not be the simplest names either. I think that's something going forward. We want to make sure anyone who reads them can pronounce them, no matter kind of where they're from. But either way, I think the differences are like Skyterron. Someone might say Skyterron. Like, doesn't really matter. I think however you say it, it's fine. But that's kind of that's how we started.
I think that's one thing that we have to kind of hold our hand up, or especially for me, is because I kept saying, Aquarion, that's fair. You can read that. Skyterron, that's how I would pronounce it. But then I was always saying Draconyx, but it's not. It's actually pronounced Draconyx, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and one of our listeners here brought it up too in the Ned there in the chat, was you're right about being concerned about those names, because we just watched that happen with MVP with using the balance, wasn't it? Is what it was. It was already a disc created with balance and then fighting over the names. So by doing the naming the way that you're doing it, there can't be as much of a confusion or a problem, I don't think.
That's exactly it, right? And you think about even just all of their other names, like MVP specifically, like they're all words, right? So it's like you just want to be careful.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's interesting there. And so with Discape as well, so you've got all of you guys and you're all in different parts of the world. Is it pretty much one of those wonderful things that did come out of COVID was the ability that, hey, we can actually do things together and not be in the same room at the same time. So is it Zoom meetings all the time or Teams meetings, or how do you guys have your company stuff happening?
We have like a Google account, like a whatever official Google account with our actual email tied back to our website. And so that's what we use. We've got in our calendar, we have weekly meetings every Friday evening, and we'll usually just hop on for a couple hours, like the whole team, and talk through everything. And then we've got all of our sheets tracking all of our different tasks and ideas and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of where we do it. And then obviously ad hoc calls and and meetings kind of as we need them. But yeah, I mean, to your point, the pandemic obviously changed that a lot for so many businesses. So we were already pretty used to that, so it was easy for us just working that way too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys have really put it together as a company, and we thought we'd hit on it. Is why don't you tell everybody you've set it up with core values and everything else? Tell us about Discape's core values.
For sure, yeah. I mean, for us, it's really about again, back on just that word of escape and everything. Like for us, like the sport is all about fun. Like I think what's great about the sport, in my eye, is literally anybody can play it. Like and anyone, like anyone can play, and anyone can be good too. Like you can't. I feel like you can't look at somebody and say, oh yeah, they're good or they're bad at disc golf. Like I've seen
Right.
all ages, and doesn't matter, male, female, anybody can be good. So just kind of starting with that, right? And then just us wanting to be game changers in a way of just continuing to grow the sport. We understand with disc golf, obviously it grew so much during the pandemic. And maybe it has plateaued a little bit just in terms of kind of new players and stuff, but you're seeing it introduced more in schools or in youth programs, in camps, that kind of thing, right? So I think long term, there is going to be that gradual growth. It is going to become a little more mainstream, quote unquote, cool. So we want to be there and we want to help sort of effectuate that change and help be those those game changers there. And then we also want to be focused, right? We don't want to bombard the market with so many products. We don't want to be overwhelming in any way. And again, we want to be there for the casual players. So, we for us, it's like, we don't need you to have a crazy bag. If it's only going to be a few discs that you're going to play with, we hope to have those discs that you kind of need. And then finally, retreat, escape, whatever word you want to use. That's what we're all about. Like, get outside, go do something fun. Maybe you play at your local league. Maybe you just play with your buddies. Maybe you play alone, right? Maybe it's just your way of getting away for a couple hours alone. Like we're all about whatever you're looking for, and that's kind of the space that we want to play in.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think going back, like we said, we've chatted across email for the past year. You first came on our Instagram feed, and when we saw your first Pioneer set, that's where we kind of got our connection with you. And then from there, we kind of reached out to you. You kind of said that you were just about to reach out to us as well. And you kindly offered us the original Pioneer set, which Jeremy's just showing on the screen right now. You were kind enough to send us the Pioneer set. You sent us two sets, one for us to take to league, which is what we did. We took it to our local Rundle League on Thursday night. We got them in people's hands. They were throwing them. We absolutely loved them. The Aquarion, everyone was just like, that's so dead straight of a putter.
Yeah.
And then we had the second set that you sent to us as well that we actually gave away on the podcast as well. We did a short video on that when we played around at Niska. We threw those discs as well.
And when we got those discs there, we made us start to think about starting and running a disc golf company and that type of thing. Is how many iterations and prototypes would you guys have gone through to get to the 3 discs that we held in our hand that first time? Was that just the first one, or how did you get to there?
Yeah, we basically, once we kind of were set on doing a set, like having a putter and a driver, they got sent out my way. They were literally just like white discs. I put a sticker on each of them. And then I started bringing that out to league and stuff and playing with them. And really what I did, again, just knowing, I'm not like as competitive as a player as some others. I actually gave them to players that would really know, well, hey, what's a good plastic, what's a good disc, that kind of thing, and had them play with it, feel it out, that kind of thing. And off the first bat, and they liked those, and that's really when we decided to kind of go for it. Like, we don't want to go for it without people actually feeling it, testing it, type of thing. So once we had that, we were good. So it was kind of one go around with those prototypes. And then I think the difference was, when we first put it out and we're working with just like finalizing the actual files and everything with the designs, and you'll see it on that first set. The stamps aren't like 100% perfect and stuff, and we were playing around with the colors and everything. So that second go around after that, once we switched up the colors, is when we really kind of cleaned that out. But
Right.
overall, yeah, we kind of went off the first prototypes, and we were happy with how they turned out.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I was thinking, Darryl, at first I thought when you're going through this process, the four of you, maybe you would have had to throw out your arms testing it and trying to make sure it was the right disc for you. But now I think that he's pretty smart, this Ned guy. He
Yeah.
says, why don't I take it to league? I'll let the people who really throw their arms out, and then they can tell me how it is. Good plan. I love that strategy.
Work smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So out of the three discs, the putter, the mid, and the fairway driver, did you have one that you did first, or were they kind of all like which one came first? Did they all come
All
around
three,
at the
they
same
came
time?
at the same time.
They did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. And so with that too, so that was always the plan, was to have a starter set, which is good. And so you've got a putter, a mid-range, a fairway driver. And then one of the next steps would be to name them. You kind of went through that. You said it was like the earth, the wind, the fire, the water. Did you guys throw around names forever trying to come up with what combination of that new unique word you would use? Or was it like pretty much quick, just boom, there they are?
No, there's a whole bunch. Like, I couldn't even. I'd have to go back and like look at the list, but like it was just smaller iterations of those words. Like the amount of like Game of Thrones dragon names that like would pop into your head, like for like that one, for example, like there was just so much, and then it really came down to what's available and what sounds good enough that we can kind of go into the market with.
Right. So you get these discs. Excuse me. You get these discs. You love them. You finalize the design. You give them to people. Everything is good. You had them. You sent them out to. You had the Pioneer sets. You sent them out to various different people. The next step from there, you look at you getting these discs. You get one. You want to get them PDGA approved. How did that step come about? Because I know I mentioned to you before about when we had the original set, was that your goal to get them PDGA approved? And you had mentioned that you wanted to get them out there and get them tested first. When did you decide to take that step? And was that always the plan to get them PDGA approved?
Our goal was like if we get 10 to 20 sets sold by the fall, like we'll be stoked. So what happened is, once we were like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna start. We're going to go out and market. We're gonna launch our brand. We're gonna sell. We got about 100 sets like in my condo, literally. And I would go out to local events, and we were selling online, as you guys would have seen. And within about like a month and a half, we sold out, which was insane. And
Awesome.
at that time, honestly, like we were not thinking about PDGA approval. We did not expect that kind of success. And at that point is when I started having conversations with like different retailers and stuff. Started, mostly kind of local ones, but some bigger ones as well. And then just started having more conversations with people in the market. Started getting feedback from people like people who actually had our discs were like, hey, like, can't wait for like Draconyx to get PDGA approved. I want to start using it in a tournament. Hey, like I want to use Aquarion in a tournament, that kind of thing, right? So now we're getting this feedback, and we're like, okay, like we should probably look into getting this approved. And to be honest, like I didn't really know too much about the process. I knew they had to get submitted. We knew the cost. It is a bit expensive and stuff, but given all the success that we had to start off, and at this point we were already launching the 2.0 and like colors that were basically voted on by our customers, our community, and we cleaned up the stamps and everything. That's when we started exploring the PDGA approval piece. And again, huge shout out to anyone who supported us, because that's really kind of what led to that process. And lo and behold, all three are approved now, which is super exciting, and that means any new plastics that they're launched in are already approved as well.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of the process. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, with the starter set as well, and we want to do lighter weights and stuff too, just to make it even more accessible. Like, I don't think PDGA is 100% necessary going after a new player that might be a lot more casual and not necessarily play in a sanctioned tournament. But I think from a marketing standpoint, like if you're a retailer, even if you're an average player that plays a few tournaments a year, like it makes a lot of sense to have it PDGA approved for those players as well. So I'm just trying to find a balance between that, and ultimately we had the success that told us we should go ahead and do this.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think too was when we realized that people were throwing the Aquarion and throwing it so straight, that was immediately what came to our mind too, is like, if I can throw a straight disc and I'm on a wooded course, hopefully I can throw that in a tournament and make it happen. So you get all that excitement when you get those 3 discs sold out, you get the Pioneer sets gone, and then you go through the PDGA process and all 3 discs get approved. Was it like celebration time at that point? Did you guys have a little party or?
It was. It's kind of nerve wracking because you don't really know. Like, it's like it should be approved. Like, there's no reason for it not to be approved, but you're still waiting kind of on that final word. And we kind of we had sent like one and then another and then another. So yeah, it was definitely big celebratory moment for us. Like, hey, we're approved. Like, we're in the database. Like, it's a pretty cool feeling. So yeah, no, it was awesome. Smiles all around for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned about the 2.0 set here. So Jeremy already
Yeah.
showed the first Pioneer set, and we got the Aquarion, we got the Skyterron, and then the Draconyx
Yes.
in the new plastic as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this new plastic?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually just a small kind of step above the old one. Very kind of similar plastic. I think we just wanted to kind of narrow it down. I would say like that plastic you're holding now, this would actually be considered our kind of base plastic, you could call it. We call it our Ventus plastic.
Right.
We'll be coming out with some new plastics here as well. And really, I mean, process around the plastic. I mean, the I don't know if you guys want all the details in terms of kind of how that comes together.
Maybe
I
the
don't know
Coles Note version.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, listen, you've got like the raw plastic material. It goes through a machine. There's different pressures, temperatures, timings, etc. That then put it into a mold that cools down, and then that's kind of how you get your this. So, this was kind of a plastic that, we saw, and comparing it to other base plastics of other brands, we felt it was, just a slight notch kind of above most base plastics. And we were kind of happy to kind of start out in the market that way, and really, own that and be honest about that and talk about, hey, this is where we're starting, and a lot better to come. And we feel like it's a great plastic, especially for kind of newer players that are getting into it as well. So that's kind of pretty much what I can say around kind of the Ventus plastic. One thing that I learned that was interesting is a lot of these plastics and ours and other manufacturers and stuff, like it's very comparable to what you feel on like Apple charging cable or like other Apple products. And there's almost like a subconscious thing there where when you feel a disc, you're kind of feeling something that you're already comfortable with. So how much truth there is to that, I don't know, but that was an interesting fact that I kind of heard.
Yeah. So we've had a few questions in the chat here, and you mentioned about different plastics and different and lighter weights and things like that. I'm just going to go to the couple of questions we got here in the chat. Got one here from Brendan who says, stability wise, which way would you expand the lineup when that time comes? And then we got another question here from Sam in the chat. He's like, can we make requests? He's asking for a friend. And he kind of followed that up with cough, 7502. So where are you kind of looking to go? You mentioned about getting lighter weights. Is that more of your focus now? Is it getting the same disc but in different plastics? Or are you looking to expand that lineup a little bit?
Or D, all of the above.
Or all of the above. Yeah, one step at a time.
One step at a time. Yeah, I will say all of the above, but it is a step at a time. I do love a 7 speed. I'd like to kind of add that into our lineup at one point. In terms of stability, I mean, I love an understable disc. So looking to kind of go both ways, I think, and have some variety there again without overwhelming the market too much. I can show you real quick. These are some of the discs I've got in my bag now. These are literally just prototypes and not discs that are
Ooh.
necessarily going to come out, but they're speeds that we can produce. I'm going to be testing it out with other people to see kind of what people like. This is a quick look at a new plastic,
Yeah.
definitely a more premium one here, and also this one here, which very similar. It's kind of might be tough to see on the camera, but similar effect to kind of like a Halo Star type of thing. So,
Right.
we're working on these in terms of kind of speeds here. Playing around in the 9 speed still, but you're looking at like a 9502, 95 minus 32. You've got 94 minus 21. 9.5 minus 3.1. So again,
Okay.
solid kind of variety there, and then want to look at different speeds eventually. Again, looking at more stable versus understable, and just trying to have without having too many discs, having enough that if you were to have one of each of ours, like you could get around in any situation in your game. Yeah, what were the other? I remember there were some more questions there, but
Yeah,
what
so
were the others?
lighter weights, and then just the different
Yeah.
plastics. You mentioned the different plastics. You mentioned the different speeds and different flight paths and flight numbers and things like that. So yeah,
Yes.
you can only do there's only so many hours in a day, Jeremy.
Well,
One stage at a time.
yes. And what the
Yeah.
good thing is
And
that we're
Oh,
hearing from you is that it's not 3 discs, a Pioneer set, and we're done. That's
yeah,
where we're at. It's
exactly.
3 discs. We're PDGA approving them. We're bringing out more discs. We're trying new plastics. We've got prototypes on the go. We'll use our good buddies at Chain Out to help us test any of those new ones out and their listeners. We heard all that, or we read between the
that's
lines.
right.
But then beyond all of that, what's happening too is that we're starting to see, as of last year, that you guys are pushing and promoting tournaments too.
Can I just I
Yeah.
want to say one thing just going back to the discs. So if you were to bring out new discs with new flight numbers, what would that process look like? Would you go and get that, like we see from many other manufacturers, is
Oh, yeah.
when the new disc comes out, it's already PDJ approved. It's kind of like set in stone. This is your new disc. This is what you're getting released. Or would we see you go down the route of the way that we have before, is that it would be a disc, put it out to the people, get them to feel it, see if they like it, and then once you get the feedback, then go to more of a PDJ approval at that point?
It's a great question. I think the goal is to have it released PDGA approved off
Right.
the bat. I think just to kind of add a little bit of excitement there. I think thinking about different products down the line, like we might decide it might be shortly after kind of thing. But I think the goal is if the money's there, get those approved as they get released.
Right.
Gotcha.
I don't want to give the game away, but somebody in the
Yeah,
chat, I'm not going to
yeah,
mention who they might be, but somebody just kind of put out maybe new putter in March. I mean, I'm not
Oh.
saying it.
yeah.
Somebody else just said it in the chat. So,
Funny, he has the same name as my co-founder, so that's
right?
interesting.
He doesn't
But
want to let you have all the fun
yeah,
releasing the information.
Yeah.
so we've got those 5 discs right here, and yeah, it's exciting. So this is going to be kind of what we call our Ventus Pro, so a notch above our plastic before getting into kind of these ones here that are very premium. Yeah, it's kind of a nice range, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Great Discape and our tournament series there. But thinking about like a smaller course, even, kind of brought the thought of this of playing with lower speeds and some variety there. But anything from a 2 speed up to a 4 speed is kind of covered in these discs. So you've got
Yeah.
the Aquarion, of course, that we have, and we're also looking at the different beads that we have on the disc, right? So you might have a heavy bead on this one, very heavy kind of bead on this one. You've got beadless as well.
Right.
And if you look at this 4-speed here, you've got the bead on kind of the top as well
Oh,
for that
yeah.
grip with the
Okay.
thumb. So just trying to kind of add some variety there. We're
Yeah.
looking to kind of go out into the market with these 5, have them available as single discs for any retailers that might be interested, but also for any tournaments that might be specific to like a shorter kind of 9-hole course. And then, us ourselves will probably be putting these out as kind of a 5-pack for
Right.
people to get, for them to try at a pretty good price. And I mean, 1, have that variety, and 2, kind of see what they like and get that feedback and see what we can come back to you guys with. So that's what we're most excited about, looking into the early kind of season as it kicks off.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, and you kind of mentioned it there with the Great Discape. And the one nice thing when you brought out the Pioneer set, it was at such a good price point for somebody who's looking to get into disc golf. So with the Great Discape, so you said, okay, now we've got 3 discs. What do we want to do? We want to get them in people's hands. So you started some 3-disc tournaments. Tell us a little bit of how that's been going so far.
Yeah, this is like super exciting. I mean, we first started working with Lagom Disc Sports out of London, Ontario. I think you guys know them. Shout out to them. And we had been chatting with them for a while. Also a new Canadian brand, retailer in the space. So we thought, hey, why not put a 3-disc challenge together? And we were like, yeah, like that would be awesome. And we put out the posting pretty early on, like quite a few months ahead, back in the summer for a November date. And we ended up getting 84 registrants.
Okay.
So 40 something teams. We made it a doubles tournament. And it was so much fun. Like I went there and Mitch came up from Windsor. So we were able to kind of both get out there and capture all that content. And yeah, what it was our 3 discs. They made it a doubles tournament. We had 3 different divisions just based on experience. And we had a really fun day out there. We added in like for this drive, a putting challenge as well. We had some of our glow discs on site, for sale and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I can't tell you how cool it is to see 84 people in one place using your discs. It was really cool. Seeing that registration fill up was really nice. And Lagom did a great job. Just from a TD standpoint, putting that whole tournament together, and we were like, okay, that was kind of our test of how this could come together, and then I've gone out to market and have started talking to other TDs. We've got one coming up in St. Catharines, might have one just confirming some details there, but might have one in the States, in Oklahoma, so and then some others out west and some more in Ontario. So talking to quite a few people about this. Again, I mean, you guys know it. 3-disc challenges are fun. They're popular. They're unsanctioned. Yes. It's not as serious, and it's a great way for people to try new products. And what we again might be a bit of a pitch here, but what we find that we do a bit different is we want to make this as custom, and we want to be as involved as we can to kind of help that TD and make their job as easy as possible. So Mitch helps on the creative side, any flyers, any posts, any creatives, going forward, any of our tournaments, all the discs will have the custom tournament stamp with the city name on the discs as well. We did custom trophy discs for the London tournament. Lagom's logo has like bears on it, so we paid homage to that. On the basket it says London 2024, and we've got the great here. So depending on what a TD is looking for, whether it's an homage to the city or an homage to their community or a current logo that they might have, we want to get kind of custom with that in terms of the trophy disc there, in terms of the disc design, in terms of all of the creative around it. If they want to go out and print signs, we'll build that creative for you. And we're looking to find other ways to kind of plus things up as well, but just trying to be as involved as possible versus it being a straight transaction. Like, hey, here are the discs, and you kind of take it away. We want to support. So, obviously if we're running, hundreds of those one day, it's going to be a bit tougher, but, while we're still kind of lean and mean, we're here to kind of help out and provide as much value as we can. So ideally we're looking to take this across as many communities as we can in Canada, really specifically this year, and even looking towards next year. So we're happy with what we had in London. We're looking to take it back there, and we're looking to do a lot more in more cities too.
Yeah, that's awesome. You gave us a little bit of a teaser there with some of those new discs that are coming out. For those that are in the chat and people that might be in the Edmonton area, all I'm going to say is that keep your eye out, because there may be a 3-disc challenge coming to our area soon as well. That's all I'll say. We're trying to work out the smaller details, but it's something that could be coming around.
Yeah, you've been hitting all our sweet spots. We love new discs. Darryl was from England, so seeing a tournament in London. I was from London. I'm from London, Ontario, right? So that was the one thing we were like, well, we can't be there, but we did sponsor a hole, so I guess we were there in spirit, right?
We did do that, yeah.
But it looked like a great
I saw
event.
you guys.
Well, and that course there, St. Julian's, is quite the course in my hometown, and I can't believe it because it's been there since the 80s. So that would have been when I was growing up in London, and I had no clue, just like anybody else back at the time, that it was even there. And now, years and years later, I don't even want to count how many years, I go back and play it. So
yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So you got the great
tough course.
Oh yeah. And you've got the great Discapes happening, which are going to grow and get better. So we've got discs, we've got tournaments that Discape's helping put together, and then now it's time to build community. So you guys are taking the next step, and you've started with the Discapers. So tell us about them.
For sure. It's pretty new kind of space for us. Again, we just want to get as many people, in our community as we can. And, when it comes to kind of this whole Discaper idea, we don't even care if you don't, currently have our disc right now. We just want to emphasize that, we're all about kind of growing the sport and just that community aspect. So I think, for us, it's really, and you guys have probably seen a bunch of the player cards and stuff. If you guys want one, definitely holler at us. But basically, inviting anybody to kind of submit their name, action shot, where they're from, their hometown, and we'll kind of produce this custom player card, Discaper player card for you, inviting people to kind of share their scores and stuff. And we're going to look to kind of formalize this a little bit. Funny timing. I mean, UDisc community is doing a lot of this through their new feature as well. But, just looking to do something on our own, make our own community, maybe provide some prizes and stuff, and get involved from there. And I think a step up from that, and just, we'd have some separation there is having an actual kind of team Discape of sponsored athletes and people are really going out and kind of promoting us and talking to us and stuff that we would actually be providing product to, maybe some jerseys later on, like some other brands have done, looking at different items that we can produce as well. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. And I mean, it's been, a lot of people have shown a lot of interest. So, looking to kind of grow both of those simultaneously. And I think it's fun that we've got these tournaments happening because we can sort of intertwine those as well if we've got certain players in those communities that are playing. Shout out to Anson, part of AC Disc Golf. They do a bunch of content. We work with them. He was kind of our first Discaper. And when we got, so the Aquarion was the first one to get PDGA approved. And then a couple weeks later, he played with it in the Niagara Falls sanctioned tournament. It was the first time a disc was played with in a tournament, so we made a big deal out of that. So again, just trying to capture those different moments with different players all across Canada, and we're still kind of working through strategy and stuff on that, but for now just kind of seeing who's interested. So to whoever's listening there, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to chat and see how we can work together.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when we looked at the list of people that were on, you recently released a post with a list of all the players that are on the Discaper team. We noticed one name that kind of stood out to us as one of our former guests on this channel was a young disc golfer by the name of Mason Howard. And if you've got him on your team, you know what? You're setting yourself up for success there because he's got a really good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. Yeah, that was an exciting one when he reached out.
Yeah.
Well, that's one that we always tell everyone and anyone listening is to go back. We did juniors episode where we spoke to him and two other juniors, but just the messages that he had to put out there and just his positive attitude and the way he approaches life. It's just anytime somebody can get a hold of a kid like that and put them on their team, you're in the right direction. So yeah,
totally. That's the kind of message we want to put out there too. And again, thinking about, you know, these younger players and stuff, it's definitely something we want to promote.
Yeah. And you're saying there that people can reach out to you if they're interested in being part of the Discaper program. Is that through the website the best way to do it? Is there a page on there, or just sending an email, or?
Yeah, it's easiest if you send an email. So we've actually got we've got our info at email, but we've also got discaperprogram@gmail.com, where Mitch basically runs that account and he can kind of work with you on there directly.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, as we get to this part here, Ned, what I'm kind of thinking about is that you've got the Aquarion, so we've got the water covered. You got the Skyterron, you got that covered. That's the sky. You've got, the Draconyx for the fire, but maybe we need something that's kind of like earth and kind of the ground and stuff. And if you drop that right in the middle of all of those, you'd probably have maybe an island.
Yeah. What a guy.
What a
Picture
segue.
this. You've taken a relaxing cruise. However, the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island. And fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
There you go. It's our staple. It's the signature part of. It's like the 18th hole of our podcast here.
Yeah, I would say so.
The desert island discs, as it says, you could take three discs with you on this sinking ship. You scramble to an island. Doesn't have to be a putter, mid-range, and drivers. That's how it started out, but it could be any combination of 3 discs. Which 3 discs are you taking with you? And
I think there's only one right answer to this question for Ned.
Are we going to let him take these 3 discs? You can pick any 3 discs you want.
Listen. I can't be. I gotta stick to Discape here. But I mean, I can call out some of our new discs that are going to be coming out. I can do some name drops there if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can name drop 3. All right. Let's see here. We've got Boulder Bane, which touches a little bit on that kind of boulder, stone, earth vibe.
Okay.
We've got Glacierus, speaking back to glaciers, ice as an element. And then Dark Might, which is a bit on the kind of darker, mysterious front, and some dark matter there. So I'll go with those 3. That I'm taking to this island. That is awesome because it has a disc golf course on it.
Well, that's a great segue there of your own, because that leads us into the second part of that, which is a new addition. If you could, out of all the courses that you've played, if you could take one course and transport that to the island, which course would it be?
It's a good question. Well, yeah, I'll take. It's tough. I got it. Like, it's either my home course or like my favorite course. One I'm familiar with.
You're going to be playing this course over and over again. So is it a course that you don't want to get sick and tired of, but you can play?
Yeah.
Does it have playability, replayability?
I'll do Hope Goat.
Hope Goat. Nice, good shout out there.
Yeah. Darryl will be happy to hear that. Hey, Darryl Banks.
Absolutely. Just wanted to, just before we wrap things up here, I just wanted to go back to the chat because there was a couple of questions here I wanted to address as well, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
Another question from Sam here. Any plans for baskets? Sorry if I missed it. I don't think you mentioned it. I don't think that may be anything you're looking at right now.
Not really right now. I mean, it might be something down the line. When you think about just transporting baskets and stuff, like it's a lot, right? They're just so big, but there might be some options there, but nothing in the near future on those. I know though that there's a gap in the space there. I think a lot of people are looking for baskets. They're kind of hard to get, so definitely something on our radar, but nothing immediate.
Right. And then another question here I think it's a question from someone called Jonathan. He says, haha, Ned, why don't we do a giveaway? I seen it in the chat and people reacted to it, so I didn't want to miss it. That was all.
He's putting you on the
I
spot
love
here,
it. I
Ned,
love
hey?
it.
So-
Jonathan is the best. It doesn't if we're ever kind of together, he'll just like see a kid and he'll just be like, "Hey, why don't we just give away a set right now?" Like, and I love it. I think it's great. Sure. Why don't we do a giveaway? What do you guys think? Like, I guess somebody in the chat should be getting it. I don't know. You guys have a good question or something to
We could
something
do
to
that
ask
if
for
you
that?
like.
Yeah,
we haven't done a chat giveaway for a while.
we haven't
Yeah.
done that in quite a while, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what should
Do you
we...
have a question? How about we have a question about something that you've mentioned tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, this is where
That's
we got to think on our feet, hey, Darryl?
Exactly. I'm just trying to think something along the lines of, I mean, we could say what are the three or
I
the
think
four
so.
people. Oh, you want to say the 3 discs?
I was thinking so.
Okay, I was thinking.
Yeah,
the
I
3
was
or 4.
thinking if someone can give us the 3 discs in the chat,
or
spell-
whoever can give, even if it's one name or two, like that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
so if you can,
And they have to be spelt correct.
yeah, don't go Googling. You should have been listening, and if you can put them in there, then we'll do that. And then while we're looking for that, what did we get there?
Oh, I don't know. Jonathan's just throwing it all out there. One new putter for everyone.
I think you got to rein him in here. He's ready to
Yeah.
give the whole company away.
I know.
No, that's awesome. So yes, let's do that. So if you
All right.
can put the 3 names of the Pioneer set discs in the chat, the first person to put them in there correctly,
Yeah.
that's who they're going to get. We might be a little lenient on the spelling, so
Well, Sam, I think, is going down the other channel because he's putting out the 3 names of the new discs.
oh,
But I think we want the 3 names of the original disc. Sonia's already got one.
yeah,
Can Sonia think of the other 2? I mean, she's picked one,
yeah, and
but we need the other 2.
we need the other 2. So
Okay.
let's we'll give them a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, Ned, we'll announce that quite a bit at the end there. But we want to give you an opportunity while we're talking. Do you have anything else that maybe we haven't covered tonight, or anything that you'd like to shout out before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, appreciate you giving me the floor for that. I think we kind of spoke to most of it. I mean, again, listen, we're looking to come through with more discs, more plastics. We're looking to do more tournaments. So, if anybody out there has any questions, wants to reach out, if you want to request a new disc, if you want to request a color, a theme, an idea, we've got a bunch of blank discs. We want to work with local artists and do some cool promos there. We haven't started on that. If you know any TDs, if you know any retailers, listen, we're open to it all. We want to talk to everybody. We want to meet people. We want to work with people, and we want to help out. So, at the end of the day, obviously we're a business, but if we can provide some sort of value to you or your community, like, feel free to reach out and let's see what we can do. And info at discapediscgolf.com to reach me and us and our team, or hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or wherever else. And appreciate everyone's time. I think if everyone in the chat wants to send us a note, feel free, and maybe we can hook you guys up with something, and we'll give the winner an extra special something too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we got a winner. Kevin in the chat here. Draconyx, Skyterron, and Aquarion all spelt correctly as well. We
Yeah.
did have a few, spell checker, autocorrect, different pronunciations there, but Kevin got them all. He's the winner. He got all 3 correct. So congratulations, Kevin.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll reach out to Kevin. We'll work with you there too, Ned, and we'll put it all together. We appreciate you. Jason put you on the spot, and you took the reins and rode the horse right through to the end. So we appreciate that. And thanks a lot for coming on the show. It's been a long time in the coming, and it was worth every minute of the wait.
Totally. Appreciate you guys.
And we'll
Thank
stay in
you.
contact as well for the future. So stay tuned.
Of course. Stay tuned on that great Discape.
There you go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ned.
Thanks for your time, Ned.
Awesome. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks. You too.
You bet.
Thanks, everyone.
Darryl,
Bye.
another exciting episode for me.
Yeah.
You know what? We talked about this before, was going into off season, what are the episodes going to be like? And I'm loving them just as much as all of our pro episodes, our recap episodes. How are you feeling about it?
Absolutely. I think this is where, in the beginning when we first started, I think this is where I was thinking that we were going to go. We were going to go with, all aspects of disc golf. And then it turned out, we had the idea, let's promote the players. Let's get those names into people's heads, right? And then we went down that path, and obviously the season, so many tournaments happening, so many people we wanted to interview. That's where we kind of went. Now the off season is here, and like I'm almost sad that it's only like a month or two away, 2 or 3 months until we get back into the season again. But just discovering and highlighting and promoting all these different Canadian disc golf manufacturers and every aspect of it is just so great.
Yeah, and this is our first disc golf manufacturing company we've had on the show.
Yeah.
And with Canadian ties as well. So that's always amazing, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's, we're holding their disc. We've got them in our hand, right?
Yes.
It's not something that we just say, oh yeah, this, by the way, this is something that happens and we know nothing about it. Like, we've had these in our hand. We've taken them to leagues. Other people have thrown them.
Yeah.
Really great.
No, it's fantastic. And of course, too, special thanks to Ned. Like, no pressure there. Glad that he gave away. I think all the pressure came from Jason, but
Jonathan.
or Jonathan. Sorry. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for putting the pressure on too.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show what a great company, and like, they can have that kind of almost like banter sort of thing. One person throwing the other person under the bus, but they're all part of the same company, right? So,
that's when friends come together. That's when it works out well. This is what it looks like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So between that and then the great Discape events that they've got going on, building this Discaper community, it feels like they're doing the right things. And we always want to know, how do you get more people disc golfing? Well, when you can get a set at a reasonable price and go out to a fun event with your friends and play a course, I think that's a great start to getting more people involved.
Just I want everyone in the chat just to give me a thumbs up if there was going to be a great Discape 3-disc challenge happening in the Edmonton area.
Just hypothetically, give me a thumbs up if you would like that, and if you would like to attend. Yeah. We'd
Be
love to know.
Yeah.
And at this point, guys, we want to tell you, thanks for listening. You made it to the end. We appreciate it. And if you've made it this far, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram. And if you've done both of those, like our comments and comment on your own comments and do things like that. Just try to help us build our community so that we can make Chain Out even better for you.
Yeah.
And if you've done all of that and you're like, I just want to support you more, Chain Out.
Some people out there might want to say that.
They might want to say that. Then go check out our Patreon. We've got a free level. We've got other levels you can support us. And we've also got in our link tree a buy us a beer, a one-time way you can support us as well. So check those things out. And of course, we try to give back to you by building our relationships in the disc golf community. 10% off at Cardinal with Chain Out, 15% off at Goat Towel with Cop 15, and 25% off the Chains Disc Golf board game with the code Chain Out. So we're trying to give it back to you as much as we are hoping you support us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so much discount.
It is.
It is.
It's good.
That's a lot of discount. A lot of people have faith in us, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And if you guys have been watching our little shorts and that on Instagram, you'll know we put out a little secret. In about 15 minutes, we're going to be recording our Patreon episode live. So if you're watching live, head over to Patreon, check out the link there, and then you can be interactive and comment with us. And Darryl's got some. What do you got, buddy?
What I'll say is when you say you head over to, Brendan's teasing it. Let me just put it out here on the video, and it may be a future BR discount code coming as well.
My.
Yeah. You never know.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. If you head over to our Patreon, sign up for the free tier, and then you'll be able to see the link. You have to sign up for the free tier.
That's why he's the technical guy.
To see the link.
Yeah. And on that
my-
link, on that Patreon episode, we're going to have Sam Western joining us, who is one of our Patreon members and a guy who just got back from Belize. Do you think
Yeah.
he played some disc golf there?
I know he plays some disc golf there, Jeremy.
So we'll find out
Yeah.
about that, and we'll talk about obscure discs, building your disc golf bag for the season, and of course, Disc Golf Jeopardy.
That's always a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Darryl, at the end of this, what if there was a great Discape in town? Where do you think it would be? If someone was going to put one on in this, where would be one of the possible places?
Well, I mean, we've got so many great courses,
Mm-hmm.
but I have heard,
You've heard rumors?
I've heard rumors that it might not be a very, not a very common course, but a course that is deep, is very deep and true to my heart.
Is it a winner to you?
It could be a winner to me. Yeah. Let's just put it out there. Let's say we went to Kingswood.
Oh, okay.
But not the regular Kingswood course. We'd have to do like the Kingswood XL layout.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty
You know,
cool.
3 discs that you haven't really thrown before. You're not used to. You know, maybe you might need a little bit of an easier course to, you know, you don't want to go to Bailey's or Wildman. You don't want to go somewhere tough like that with 3 new discs. You want to go to a nice forgiving course.
Mm-hmm.
So you went out there. I can't name any of the holes because I've only played it once.
Well, you could say hole 1. That's
say-
a hole. Or how about hole 2? That's a
Yeah.
hole. I don't think they have specific names.
Yeah. Nope. Not Norwester, Kevin.
Just for Darryl, not the Augusta.
No. But let's say you went out there. You know, I'm not going to say you're going to throw your Draconyx.
No,
you know,
probably
that's gonna be a
not. Not
little
on
bit
the first
unstable.
drive, at
No.
least.
But I would say you take your Skyterron. That's a nice, good mid-range.
Yeah.
Okay, we've all got our
I've got our
Skyterrons.
Skyterron.
Everybody
We're
hold
all
up
ready.
their everybody hold up their Skyterrons.
Okay, I've got it ready.
You've got your Skyterron in your hand. You're gonna throw it. Feel that grip, Jeremy.
Nice.
Is that a good grip?
It's
It feels good in the hand.
Yeah.
You're gonna take that disc. You're gonna go forehand.
Sure.
You're gonna go forehand. I'm gonna go backhand. We're gonna take it. We're gonna launch it on hole 1. It's gonna fly. It's gonna be a nice, perfect day. No wind. It's gonna be nice and glidey. It's gonna go right to that basket.
Yes.
It's gonna hit that chain's right side.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that this disc would never do.
This disc could never do.
It would never do this.
There's no way it would ever chain out.
Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll see you later on the Patreon.